Hi, everyone. Welcome back to episode 3 of our podcast, Dogs Get Involved. My name is Jessica, and I'll be your host.
My name's Frankie.
And I'm Columbia.
So, this episode is kind of going to be about how you can get involved. In the past 2, we've talked about how to get confidence by being involved and the importance of being involved. So this one is for all of the people wondering how you get involved. So let's start by just naming off the things that we are involved in right now. So I am about to wrap up my term as student body president in the Student Government Association. And I am also the reigning homecoming queen, and I'm also involved in Delta Mu Delta, the Baptist Collegiate Ministries, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and I think that's it.
Yep.
Sigma Phi Lambda.
Oh, Sigma Phi Lambda, yes. Love that place.
I have a lot to name off that I have been involved in. Currently, I am the executive advisor and homecoming director for Student Government Association. I forgot also to mention in the first episode that I am a collegiate activities board member. I was also a collegiate activities board director 2 years ago, I believe. But I have been involved in my former fraternity, Phi Delta Theta. I was the Brotherhood chair, social media chair, sweetheart chair, treasurer, and vice president for that fraternity. And then I was also an orientation leader where I served as an orientation leader advisory board member for Welcome Week. I was, geez Louise, I was a part of Halo. I was a part of Spanish Club. What else?
This is like a Frankie quiz. How well do I know you? Which one are you missing?
And then in SGA, I was also a senator for a year, and then I'm the former student body president as well. That's all I can think of, and I'm the dean of students intern, if that really.
Yeah.
Oh, and I was also a resident advisor too.
Oh, yeah. I count like the student worker jobs are pretty also connected to being involved on campus.
I work at the BEC.
And then I'm like an outside of campus. I'm also the college ambassador for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Word.
So, go Thunder.
Yeah.
We're doing really good this season.
We really are. So a little bit, I'm involved in Sigma Phi Lambda. I've been an active member for 3 years, going on 4 years next year. I served as chaplain during my sophomore year, and I was the social media chair before that. So that was my first position, my freshman year. I did philanthropy a little bit, and I have hopes for future roles next year that I'm excited about. And then I was a senator my freshman year in SGA, and then I've been public relations chair for my sophomore year and this year, so for 2 years total. And I'm the recently elected vice president for SGA.
Ooh.
So I'm very excited to step up, but I'm bittersweet goodbye to PR because I love it so much, and that is like my child. What else? I'm also in Delta Mu Delta, which is the honor society for business, meaning you have to maintain a certain grade point average and make good grades and be all that and be in there. I'm also in PBL, Phi Beta Lambda, which is just the social club for business leaders. What else? Oh, I also work in the Dean of Students office, and we sponsor a student organization, CAB, which is Collegiate Activities Board, which I'm the current CAB director for that, and that's a volunteer-based organization for students to get volunteer hours and get cool incentives from those hours, and I think that's it.
You guys did a really good job about explaining all of them, and I did not do that. Okay, so the last 2 episodes, we've kind of just been able to piggyback off of each other and just keep a good flow of discussion. This one's going to be a little bit different. So we're kind of going to have it question based for our viewers and listeners to actually hear answers on how they can put this into action and how they can get involved. So our first question is, what are some tips on finding the right clubs for you?
I'm gonna go.
Sure.
I can go. So at SWASU, we pride ourselves. One of the things that I heard coming in, from admissions and recruitment, they're kind of get you type of thing, is we have a place for you everywhere. We have over, I'm not exactly sure the number now, but we have
90.
over 90 For sure
Wow.
over 90 clubs and organizations on campus. So there's something for everyone. We have a fencing club.
was gonna
We
say
have
fencing.
what else? Scuba,
I
a scuba
might.
club.
No, that's a
We have a scuba.
class.
We also have a club, a scuba club.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
We have a lot. A couple
Art
nursing
club.
associations.
Nursing associations, pharmacy clubs, business clubs,
Yeah.
organizations. We have so many different things.
Mhm.
With that being said, there's I encourage you to do a trial and error basis. So like join whatever you can at within reason. Join like 3 organizations your first year and take a member role for now for the first year and kind of see and gauge kind of the way that they run the organization, what they're involved in, kind of like if they hold events, how the people, like the members themselves, behave and what they're passionate about. A big thing for like a group of people to work together like efficiently is having the same interests in you as you. You can have different goals in life, but if you have the interest of like if you're really passionate about let's say you're in art club, if you're passionate about art and what the meaning of art is and everything about it, then you need to make sure that everyone else in the club is passionate about that too. Because if you have different views and things like that, of course diversity is important, don't
Mhm.
get me wrong, but having the same passion for the main goal of the organization is really, really important. And there's nothing wrong with joining an organization and finding out it's not for you and moving on and finding another thing. Find your
Yeah.
place. We encourage, like everyone encourages, all staff, all administration, even the leaders in the organization encourage you to, find your place. And if that you don't feel comfortable in that club, then you're more than welcome to leave. No one's
Yeah.
holding you down there. It's not like you're paying for it.
No,
Yeah.
until you're like fully committed, you
Right.
might be paying for it. But
Right.
even then, costs are pretty low here.
Right. Yeah.
But even if you just
True.
they have like a sign up sheet for the organization that you're maybe interested in, write your name down. Doesn't mean you have to be fully committed. It's not what that means at all until they tell you for sure, like, hey, if you sign up, this is a full 100% commitment. But it's usually never like that. I know I definitely signed up for a few other organizations that, like my freshman year, that I ended up not continuing forth and like being like, I'm a full on member. Like, I don't add that to my resume because I didn't actually join the organization. But like the ones that I did like pour more of my time and my whole being into, like those were the ones that I knew this is what I'm going to focus on. So,
And if you're like, also a really cool thing about SWASU is if somehow you manage to not fit in, which is totally possible, you are also able to create your own organization or club.
mhm.
It's super easy. I think you need like 4 other people
And an advisor.
and
I
then an
think.
advisor. You need like 5 members total, an advisor, and you need to just make up your constitution with like your like executive like officers, and you're set. You can make your own thing. And we also have like allocations, which also
Mhm.
we mean both Columbia and I work at the dean of students office, so we help fund those organizations for you at the beginning of the year. So it's really possible for you to create something big yourself if you don't find something that you're passionate for around these clubs, and you are totally able to find your group of people and then make that dynamic for yourself and for the people surrounding you.
And it all kind of goes back to the past couple things we've been talking about in the past 2 episodes is just getting that spark of confidence to be bold enough to go be like, hey, I don't see anything here for me. I'm going to go start something.
Like I don't
And
see a club about donut making. I'm gonna make
yeah,
one.
I'm all for that one. So I'll send that over to the Dean of Students office right now.
I'll join.
And then just like being in leadership is just being that leader and starting it. Like the change isn't going to happen until you make it happen, basically.
A fun fact, student body president gets to approve those organizations.
Yes. So all 3 of us are very aware with how these organizations stuff goes since we work in the Dean of Students office and you approve them.
Yeah. I haven't
Absolutely.
like rejected any. Did you ever reject any?
I've had to send a couple for revision last year.
Okay.
But
Fencing club is a newer one, I think.
don't be like steered away from because they send it back for revision. Like sometimes you forget
just gonna
things.
help
It's
you
just a
out.
lot to do. Yeah, we're helping
Yeah.
you out.
It's
We
a
want the
better-
best
yeah.
the best for you and your club. So
Yeah. Okay. Our next question is, how are you able to balance academics and the extracurriculars that you are involved in?
Oof.
Oof. That is something that I feel like gets asked a lot. Because just recently I was campaigning for vice president, and we did a Q&A for the candidates, and that was one of the questions was, how do you think you're going to be able to maintain the time that you're supposed to put into this role on top of your homework and your workload on, like, I also have a job, like I work 20 hours a week. Like, how do you think you're going to do that? And it is hard. Sometimes it's really hard, but I'm very thankful that I have a major that, like, that doesn't require a lot of studying time, but it does have like a lot of project based, clearly, project based and like team group work, organize stuff that makes it hard to find time to get together and meet up like this.
Yeah.
So it definitely does add a little bit of stress to it, but that's just one of the things that you have to learn is how much can you take until you are stretched out too thin, and just don't even get to that point of stretching yourself out too thin. But sometimes I think we get a little ambitious and we get a little over our head and bite off more than we can chew and kind of stretch ourselves out too thin. But that's okay. And just know when to step back and to relax, and just taking time for yourself, and setting other than setting time aside for homework and working and friends and stuff like that. Just like remembering to take that time, and like if you need to go to Walmart by yourself. I like doing that, honestly. Like, to be real, I'll go drive to Walmart just to grab an Alani. Just because I want to drive around and I just want to be by myself for a little bit. Take a breather, go on a walk, find something that is not stressful. And I know that's easier said than done too. Like, I don't have enough time to do all these things. How am I going to have enough time to go on a walk? You'll make time, but it is hard. But it just comes a part of learning and growing as a college student. Like, that's the biggest thing you learn in college is time management. So
time management is super huge. Going back to what you said, I was a person who stretched myself out too thin.
Yeah, that was so targeted to him.
Last year I was student body president. I was resident advisor in training, and I was also the welcome week director. And so at the beginning of the school year, we have this thing called welcome week and move-in week. So as a resident advisor, we had done training for 4 full days. We had about 15-hour days of training every single day. And when freshmen move in, we also have welcome week, which I put on. So I was going from, I spoke at.
Yeah. You had to be there, basically.
I had to be there the whole entire time. So I had to be in 3 places at once. So it was really, 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 really stressful. I would wake up at 6:30 a.m. would help with move-in as much as I could, and then it was time for me to go put the event together for Welcome Week, and then juggle whatever it is as president that I had to do, either answer some emails, go to some meetings, speak at certain events. It was like go from 6 a.m. to all the way to midnight, and I was getting barely sleep. I was barely eating. I was going from training to event, back to training to event to meeting to emails to sleep for a couple hours and then wake up and do it all over again. So like, even though it was just a week, it kind of became a routine of like me just being busy with all those things. Unfortunately, those were roles that I couldn't just really back out of.
Yeah.
So it really taught me how to like know my limits. And at the time I was also taking 18 credit hours. So I stressed myself extremely, extremely thin. Like I was getting gray hairs. Like it was so bad. I wanted to literally cry every single day. In the shower, like I was like bawling my eyes out.
And I would have never known.
Right. And like, it's all about, again, we've talked about fake it till you make it. Even though like now I know my limits, then it was all about time management. I had to keep my, I had to keep my iPad on me, keep that thing on me. I had my life together because I had my iPad, you know what I mean?
Shout out to Apple.
Shout out to Apple, right. And so I had everything written down. That was like the huge thing that college teaches you. Even if you're not involved, you have to have time management. You're going to have a lot of assignments, especially though if you're involved, juggling schoolwork, juggling either if you have leadership or just if you're involved. People, they have weekly or bi-weekly meetings.
I remember I had one I had a meeting every single day of the week freshman year.
Exactly. And so like that all adds up. So learning time management like as early as you can,
Yeah, like
even
right
if
off the
start off
bat.
at high school. Start off in high school if you can. If not, start right now. If you're reading this, either get yourself an iPad, get yourself a planner or something. Write it
Even
down somewhere.
listening to this.
Write it on a
Figuring this.
napkin. I don't know. But get it together and like write it down. That's the only way that you can do it. I would probably like had broken down crying in front of everyone when I had to give my welcome speech to the freshmen. Had I not been more organized, yes, I was stressed, but I knew exactly where I needed to be, for how long before I had to leave. I had to know when, where, why, what I was supposed to be doing, everything because I was organized. And it would have been so much more worse had I not had the time management that I did, luckily.
Yeah, so that kind of pours over to this next question. And it says, what are some common mistakes to avoid when trying to get involved?
It's
Being too
basically
involved.
that.
Yeah.
Trying to do everything at once.
Yeah. And that's something like me being like, I definitely have to like check in with myself. Okay, am I stretching myself out too thin? I'm saying yes a lot. Is that okay? And I am anticipating the next year, like the actual next year. What's that going to look like? Busy, which is totally okay. It's okay to be busy, but sometimes we don't have to be busy all the time. And that just like brings me back to knowing, like a part of growing is knowing when to step back and say no. And I saw opportunities. Oh, I could be the president of this organization. I came really close to doing it. But I'm also doing this in this other organization, or I'm wanting to do a bigger leadership role in this position. I probably shouldn't do that. Or like, I already know that my heart wants to do this a little more. So sometimes we just have to say no.
Yeah.
Weigh your options and kind of decide where you want to pour more passion into one thing that's kind of either decide what's going to benefit you the most and make you grow as a person the most. In my case, like I would have been, apart from RA, OLAB, and student body president, I would have also been the vice president of my fraternity, of my older fraternity,
Yeah,
Phi
forgot
Delta
about
Theta.
that.
I would have been all four at the same time. So I did, I was on my way to Panama City Beach
Wish I could go there
during
right
the
now.
summer. And
Yeah.
like, I was kind of planning out my semestering, my classes and everything. And I kind of realized that it was a lot. It was too much. I had to drop something. I had already been in Phi Delta Theta for 3 years. I had pretty much gained what I could out of it. I love my brothers or whatever, but it was just a lot. It would have been a lot, and I wouldn't have been able to pour really all of my leadership skills into that position because I had more major roles that I had to fulfill. So definitely weighing what was going to help you more and what was going to like help you succeed more, and knowing what that is will help you not stretch yourself thin. Drop something if you have to. No one will judge you if you think, oh, I probably shouldn't. Like, I think I'm going to have to, drop out of being treasurer for this organization because I don't think that I'm going to be able to give it my all. And people will respect that. People respect things like that. Acknowledging and knowing your strengths is a huge thing that, again, employers will appreciate. Them knowing what you can and, knowing your abilities and your limits is extremely helpful in the workforce.
Yeah, I actually just recently I've had to do that. I said I was active in PhiLam all 3 years, but I actually did take this semester off, and it was very well needed. I do miss it though, but sometimes we kind of have to just take a step back. I wasn't really doing anything, like I didn't have a big role or anything like that. So when it's just, having members is important, and don't like, not saying like just being a member is not important. But when I had already served in a role already, I knew it's okay to step back and let these newer members coming in and take the lead, and then I will step back when I'm ready, and that's my plan.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that's definitely, I love that you guys spoke on that and how like knowing your limits is just such a sign of growth, because that's definitely part of my story as well. Like coming into being student body president this past school year, I knew that I was going to have to let something go. And so unfortunately I did have to let Sigma Phi Lambda go for a year, but I'm
Sorry,
excited. I'm excited to come back in the fall. Heart on fire, very
sure.
passionate, excited for what next year holds in Sigma Phi Lambda. But
Absolutely, yeah.
all right, do you guys have any closing thoughts?
I do not. This was fun.
Yeah,
No, this was fun. This was great.
All right. Well, once again, I'm Jessica.
Frankie.
And I'm Columbia.
Thank you for watching. Go
Dogs.
Dogs.
Go Dogs.